Recently, an outbreak of respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, has occurred in Shanghai. On October 8th, waiting lines formed in the emergency, pediatric, and respiratory departments of Shanghai Children's Hospital. The number of children seeking treatment was 30% higher than at the end of September, and some entire families were infected. Some netizens reported that children had been admitted to the ICU, and some parents had even signed critical illness notices. Global Times reported that the number of pediatric patients in Shanghai has been increasing in recent days. Shanghai Children's Hospital stated that the number of children seeking emergency treatment for respiratory symptoms, such as fever, cough, and asthma, has risen by approximately 30% compared to late September, with RSV showing the highest positive rate. At 10 a.m. on the 8th, waiting lines were already forming in the emergency, pediatric, and respiratory departments of Shanghai Children's Hospital. Most patients were young children nestled in their parents' arms. In the treatment rooms, many children were seen with IV catheters in their hands, receiving nebulizer treatments. Most were under 5 years old and infected with RSV. Huang Yujuan, director of the emergency department at Shanghai Children's Hospital, stated that RSV ranks first in the overall pathogen positivity rate. We've also seen family clusters, such as households with 2 children, leading to increased transmission within families. As a result, our current emergency room visits have doubled compared to previous weeks. One doctor reported seeing a 5-year-old patient with RSV 2 days earlier. Upon questioning, they found that the patient's grandmother, mother, and other family members also showed symptoms of infection. Experts warn that RSV is primarily transmitted through droplets and close contact, affecting people of all ages. On October 9th, Douyin blogger Songe Guanguan commented in a video, "The line at the Shanghai Children's Hospital emergency room stretched to the end of the hallway. Children in arms were coughing and wheezing, monitors were beeping, and parents were still waiting in line at 3 a.m. carrying their children. This is because RSV is so rampant. This wave of the virus has hit hard." The blogger reported that some children infected with the virus had severe respiratory symptoms and were rushed to the ICU, where their parents signed critical illness notices. This wave of the virus seems even more contagious, and many families have experienced multiple infections. With children gathering in large groups after school, the virus may spread further. A Shanghai netizen warned, "Don't be careless, Syncytial virus is not a common cold." The user explained that their 8-month-old baby contracted the virus and developed pneumonia, eventually being admitted to the intensive care unit. Syncytial virus is far more dangerous than we imagined. Another netizen commented, "My real experience, from a runny nose to the ICU, it was incredibly fast." Another recounted their 1-year-old child being infected. "We thought it was a cold at first, then the wheezing started on the 5th day, heavy coughing by the 7th, and severe pneumonia by the 9th day. He was breathing rapidly and eventually admitted to the ICU." The syncytial virus outbreak isn't limited to Shanghai. Netizens from Zhejiang, Shanxi, and Jiangsu provinces shared similar experiences. "Our entire family got infected. The youngest is only 1 month old and has both syncytial virus and bacterial infection. We started having a fever on the 2nd and were hospitalized on the 5th. I didn't know much about this virus before, but it really broke me down. My child had a slight cough a few days ago, and I didn't take it seriously. But by the 3rd day, we went to the hospital and found out it was pneumonia caused by the syncytial virus." It's worth noting that another mosquito-borne disease is spreading. Since July, China has experienced its largest recorded outbreak of the chikungunya virus. As of September 27th, Guangdong province had reported 16,452 locally confirmed cases, with infections spreading throughout the province, especially in Foshan and Jiangmen. Local cases have also been reported in Guangxi, Fujian, Hunan, and Shanxi provinces. Despite extensive disinfection efforts by local authorities to prevent the virus from spreading, severe cases remain in several areas, including Jiangmen, Guangdong.
On September 13, 2025, Beneath the glittering facade of a 5% GDP growth figure, China is quietly unraveling. While the world fixates on official statistics, the reality on the ground paints a chaotic picture. Hong Kong's streets echo with protests demanding unpaid wages. Shanghai's markets have become real estate graveyards, with property prices plummeting 70%, and millions of mainland families scrape by, borrowing just to afford a single meal. This is not merely an economic downturn. It is the collapse of a society where faith in the future has been crushed under the iron heel of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. The CCP conceals the true numbers, enforces a digital iron curtain to control information, but the cracks are spreading. From unpaid wages worth hundreds of millions to toxic heavy metal levels in people's blood 5 times higher than global averages, from an exodus of elites to single mothers trembling with their children in the dead of night, China faces a multidimensional crisis where economics, society, and politics merge into a collective nightmare. Yet behind it all, the CCP whispers lies of a great rejuvenation. Hong Kong, from financial paradise to a pit of exploitation. Hong Kong, once Asia's shining jewel with its independent legal system and some of the world's lowest taxes, has become a shadow of its former self. Since its 1997 handover to Beijing, the city has gradually dissolved into the mainland, losing its one country, two systems identity to become a microcosm of authoritarian control. The pain reached its peak in the 2025 economic collapse, when unpaid wages exploded like a ticking time bomb. In the first months of the year, the construction industry alone reported nearly 200 cases involving 2,000 workers, with losses exceeding 300 Hong Kong dollars million, a social bomb, as the Construction Industry Employees Union called it. Workers, from migrant laborers to local engineers, climbed towering cranes, unfurling banners that read, "Pay us our wages," amid the wail of police sirens. The collapse extends beyond construction. The catering industry has imploded, with 2,434 restaurants shuttering between May 2024 and April 2025, replaced by a mere 179 new ones. Ocean Empire Kanji, a 3-decade icon of Hong Kong cuisine, abruptly went bankrupt on May 7th, leaving 100 employees demanding 15 million Hong Kong dollars in unpaid wages. These workers, dishwashers, cashiers, bartenders, mostly migrants, labored tirelessly only to be left empty-handed. On social media platform X, public outrage spreads like wildfire. Hong Kong has fully merged with the mainland. Chronic wage theft is the inevitable result of abandoning the rule of law, one user wrote, attaching images of workers blocking streets. Another comment dripped with sarcasm. "Congratulations, Hong Kongers! You now enjoy the blissful life of Chinese citizens. Next step, kneel, protest, face red codes, lose internet, and if that fails, a trip to the mental hospital." The collapse isn't just economic, it's demographic. A mass exodus of the middle class has turned Hong Kong into a ghost city, with Beijing's high-quality immigration program filling the void with over 90% of newcomers tied to the CCP, a calculated move to replace locals with loyal, new Hong Kongers. Analyst David Webb warned at the Foreign Correspondents' Club on May 12th. Hong Kong's uniqueness lay in its difference from the mainland. Now we're drifting into Beijing's centralized planning system. After 2047, will two systems even exist? The CCP conceals this reality through media censorship, but Hong Kong's cries for help echo globally, revealing a city dying under a veneer of stability. Debt to survive, hunger, gnawing at the nation's soul. On the mainland, the crisis is no longer abstract, it's borrowed meals. Since mid-2024, white-collar workers in Beijing and Chongqing have shifted from WeChat Pay to credit cards and Huabei just to afford lunch. If even white-collar workers borrow to eat, where are we as a society? A basement diner owner lamented. At a factory job fair, A 45-year-old applicant confessed, "I haven't eaten in 2 days. If you don't help, I'll starve." A blogger at Chongqing North Railway Station recounted, "An old man stared at my orange. I gave him everything and ordered another meal. I've never seen someone beg for food instead of money." 85% of Chinese households earn less than 50,000 yuan annually, with 936 million people under 2,000. They're not living, they're surviving. A 27-year-old single mother, post-divorce, clutched her child in a dilapidated apartment. "My in-laws pressured me to drop the lawsuit, threatening me at midnight. I have no home, no car, only fear." She works part-time, calculating every discounted vegetable, while the CCP conceals these stories by censoring personal accounts, framing suffering as isolated incidents. Reproductive pressure, when children become an unbearable burden. China's plummeting birth rate is no accident. It's a cry for help from the young. Ideal number of kids? 0, a rural mother of 4 said, her voice breaking. "More kids, more poverty. My husband earns a few thousand yuan. My father-in-law does odd jobs. We grit our teeth to keep going, but post-graduation costs are scarier than tuition." A Beijing student earning 5,000 yuan monthly faces 8,000 in rent, still relying on parents. "Dad gives 1,500, but I need 3,000 for cosmetics and fruit," a father-daughter argument echoed. A blogger calculated, raising a child for 21 months costs 26,500 yuan annually. Milk, diapers, healthcare, a money-burning machine that grays hair before 30. In Shenyang, kindergarten costs 26,000 yuan yearly. In the Northeast, couples earning 8,000 rely on grandparents to avoid divorce from exhaustion. Do kids care for their parents? "No, you're on your own," an old man said coldly. Women bear a double burden. "Raising daughters is useless," an old saying now, a harsh reality, as they sacrifice careers for in-laws. The CCP pushes pro-natal policies with subsidies, but hides the truth. 90% of men earn under 5,000 yuan, barely covering taxes, let alone children. Unemployment and despair. Streets turn into ghost markets. Guangzhou swelters at 30 degrees Celsius, but its streets are cold with lines of unemployed snaking around stadiums. "Guangzhou has no way out. Everything's collapsing," one person cried. Stores are shuttering en masse. In Taizhou, 10 of 12 shops are empty. Suzhou cuts staff, wages broken. In catering, "Brothers, keep fighting, I'm out. My shop's bankrupt," an owner wrote. Supermarkets are deserted, 9 yuan dumplings unsold because no one has money to eat. A 30-year-old woman with 4.4 million in debt, her factory bankrupt. "I'm 30 and have nothing." Hospitals delay salaries for months, paying only 1,000 yuan basics. "The economy is a knife slowly killing people," a garment worker lamented. Job fairs. "Education's useless. Work starves you." The CCP hides the real unemployment rate, over 20% for youth, with fake data, but videos of ghost markets lit up yet empty reveal the truth. Society is dying. The CCP's secret, a veil of lies and unmendable cracks. The CCP doesn't just conceal, it crafts illusions. A 5% GDP is a lie when reality is collapse. Unemployment rates are understated. Food safety issues are censored as old problems. They monitor troublemakers with red codes, cut internet, freeze accounts, as in Hong Kong. Rumors of military unrest and threats to top leaders circulate underground but are silenced, with mental hospitals. "They're powerful but abuse that power," an ex-user wrote. The biggest secret, post-2047, Hong Kong will fully mainlandize and the nation will follow. The CCP conceals to cling to power, but the cracks, from elite emigration to covert protests, expose their fragility. Can China escape the spiral? China today is a fractured society. Its economy collapses under debt and toxicity. Its society cracks under hunger and pressure. Its politics simmer with dissent beneath a veneer of stability. The CCP conceals, but reality screams through personal stories, from single mothers to workers climbing cranes. The question isn't economic recovery, but whether the nation can rediscover trust and identity before it implodes. As Squareface said, the way out is to revive morality, not just profit. The world watches, and China, no matter how long it hides, cannot escape the storm it has sown. Share your thoughts. What do you see for China's future?